along the lines of that general response, right? How do people that work with you all, whether it's corporate partners or strategic partners on your end, Zoe, or Jerrell, the teams, the youth, the kind of community organizations that you guys link up with through organizations that you're partnering with, what has been that general response? Have you seen, and have you been able to see over the years that you guys have been there since 2020, this moving target? Have you seen change? Have you gotten the feedback that this is working, or, have you seen this kind of general positive response? And can you share any kind of success stories from each of your work that would kind of ring true for that vision over the past 2 years of the work you guys have been doing?
Yeah, we see with our partners all the time. They're always like, we want more. And we're like, okay, we got to actually plan this. We got to take some time to think through it. Like, our partners have grown tremendously over the last few years. And we've done over like 500 programs just last year alone, right? But before that, we're in the hundreds of 200s. And now we're over to like 300, 400, 500 workshops in a calendar year. But again, I think our big piece is not only that education piece, but that empowerment piece. And oftentimes we do empowerment in various ways. Like, one program we have is our Rise to Vote program, where we work with student athletes, we work with coaches, we work with professional athletes on getting them registered to vote, right? What are your voting initiatives? Now, whichever way you vote, that's perfectly fine, but you should be able to use that power of a vote to make whatever decision you do based on the research you find. And we're seeing that across all our partnerships, is not only that educational piece, but that rise to action piece. What are steps that you can take in your community, whether that being involved, like one of our athletes for the Broncos does, or when we're looking at partners like Under Armour in the NBA, and we're working on our Building Bridges through basketball program. These are programs that we want to include youth and law enforcement and bringing them into conversations. Again, that's another component on rising to action and bringing voices together to have tough conversations. So as we look at our partnerships, we always start with the education piece, but we look to find ways to have different conversations from an actionable standpoint. So I would say that is like a really, really cool component of our program, is seeing that action piece play out and seeing that change in the community that we're working in.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's something I think too, to go off that with the action piece, we see with our Super Bowl programming every year, for example, in addition to going through the multiple sessions of programming over the course of, a couple months leading up to Super Bowl, that group of kids, and we're expanding this into other areas as well when we work with youth, do a project, and they get to present their project, and they get to talk about it as to how would they take what they've learned during the RISE programming back out into their community, serve as a community leader, and be able to enact change in their own communities. And that's a really cool part, because as Jerrell mentioned earlier, when you're working with these young people, they want change. They're hungry for it. They want to enact it right now. They don't even want to wait. They want it now. And so how do you take that? I think one of the most impactful things that I've heard our CEO, Diane Billings-Burford, say before is it a moment or is it a movement?
Yep.
And when we talk about the work being done in the DEI space, obviously we want it to be a movement. And the difference between a moment and a movement is that forward momentum, as what's that next step. And we're trying to incorporate a lot of that into our programming.